Right.
And yeah, I read Metamorphosis a couple of weeks ago, and I listened to an audiobook of it, and it was a very interesting book to listen to while I was commuting and things like that. I guess we often take for granted the current styles of literature to the point where I didn't realize that this style of writing about uh, something similar to everyday life, personal struggles, and stuff like that. It's not actually something that people wrote about all the time. And it was very interesting to see. It was very interesting to see how Sansa was treated, like, kind of. He was alienated by his family. He was treated as really disgusting and things like that. And other media and stuff that I've been exposed to, which talk like modern media, which talk about things like life as a queer person, life as a transgender person, life as a disabled person. It's like there are a lot of parallels between how he is treated and their struggles, which I also thought was interesting. And in general, um, I also, you know, uh was interested by the like talks of capitalism and how his boss was very quick to replace him, very quick to not appreciate his efforts and things like that. I just in general think that even though it is an old book, it has a lot of parallels to the modern day, and not much has changed in how I don't know how workers are treated, how marginalized people are treated, and things like that.
Mhm. No, there'll
Yeah.
obviously not be too much of a difference because of
Yes.
the fact that capitalism continues.
Yes.
And
Capitalism becomes worse, in fact.
well, I don't know if it becomes worse or not, but it gets an extended lifespan thanks to the collapse of the erstwhile Soviet Union and collapse of the economies of countries like India, which are following uh, some kind of a socialist model, uh, not a very socialist model, but nevertheless it had elements of socialism in it, and that actually led to what should I say? The collapse of India also opened up a huge market, and that was also the time that new technologies came, technologies like the World Wide Web and connectivity, electronic connectivity, and it's to me it's a bit of a conundrum. At one time, people were calling this the new world economy, as opposed to the old world economy. The old world economy is the brick and mortar industry. Uh, the new world economy was, say, the industrial economy of the variety that was unleashed by Henry Ford. And this became the new world economy. Uh, they took the second new because uh, Aldous Huxley had already used the new in his book, The Brave New World, which is a dystopian book. And so, if you look at it that way, it is. They couldn't say the new world economy then because that will be going to what was being described by uh, what's his name, Aldous Huxley. Uh, so that's why they called it the new world economy. And there was a splinter group of American thinkers who also uh, added a few of the elements of Alvin Toffler. Strictly speaking, these are not academicians, but Toffler uh, did write an interesting book called The Third Wave, where he predicted that the difference between the consumer and the producer will slowly uh, diminish and evaporate. So he said people will be prosumers doing most of the stuff at home. And he said that would ease the congestion of traffic and all that in cities. Well, but that part didn't happen. But during COVID, definitely the work from home model uh, fairly decently represented what Alvin Toffler had in mind. I mean, just think of the situation if you didn't have the World Wide Web, you couldn't work from home, then economies would have completely collapsed, and it would have been like the what was like uh, the situation after the Spanish flu in 1920. So, so well, so there was some merit to that argument of including Alvin Toffler's ideas also. And yeah, and what else have you found?
Um, I did talk about like everything that I found most interesting. I don't know, this might not be worth a comment, but it was also interesting to see that his sister was the only one who was kind to him, and even that kindness offered some sort of a relief when everything else sucked. Again, I keep comparing it to other like modern medias that I've watched, which obviously are inspired by like the early existentialist works and things like that. But a lot of the shows I watch currently, which are about philosophy, also talk about how kindness and genuine connection and things like that are good antidotes against hopelessness and capitalism and things like that. Obviously, I know what happens in the ending and things, but it was also interesting to see that that was a element that was a part of the book.
Anything else?
Could you
What
repeat that? Sorry.
I said anything else, but let me ask you, what did you make out of this existentialism that you find in Kafka?
I guess Did you say something? One second. Sorry, my mom wasn't aware that I was in a meeting. Um, I guess the thing with existentialism that sticks out to me is that a lot of older books that I've read, even if they weren't So I did like learn about existentialism as part of my literature course, not a very deep dive, but I at least understand the concept of it. So from what I know, it's an exploration of what the human condition is like outside of predeterminism, outside of God, and exploring it as a, kind of a lonely entity in a very unpredictable, uncaring universe. So older books that I've read, even if they don't directly deal with things like God or something like that, they seem a lot more grounded in something. They seem a lot more predictable. They seem to know where they are going with their plot or something like that. Whereas, in Metamorphosis, it's more like it's a very free flowing, like stream of consciousness kind of a narrative. I've also noticed this with other existentialist books. I haven't like read it to completion, but even The Stranger seemed very like very meandering in its thoughts and just very present in the moment without being connected to a larger plot or a larger predetermined message.
Yeah, okay. Actually, if you look at existentialism, you pointed out three things. It's not three things. Uh, it's only about one thing. The one thing is the freedom of the human being for self-determination. Okay, that's what it is, and it deals with issues that come in the way of this freedom for self-determination. Now, underlying the principle of self-determination is this thing called the principle of rationality or principle of reason, as some people like to call it. And their main problem is with the German Enlightenment school. Uh, the German Enlightenment represents a number of thinkers uh, who subordinated the individual to the universe. Like, for example, if you talk about Arthur Schopenhauer, Arthur Schopenhauer basically talked about why do we succeed in some of our endeavors and why do we not succeed in other endeavors? And his answer to that was in the concept of will. You have to write that with a capital W. He said that there are two kinds of will. One which he calls the cosmic will, which is the will of the entire cosmos, and the other one which he calls the individual will. Now, for him, as long as the individual will is in consonance with the cosmic will, then things are bound to happen. They are bound, you're likely to reach your goals or whatever. But if what you desire goes against the cosmic will, then it basically means that you are likely to fail. Now, the key term in this whole understanding is cosmic will. If you want, you can leave out the will part for a moment. Cosmic. We describe the universe as a cosmos, most of us, including the scientist Carl Sagan, uh, who made a brilliant what should I say, series for television called The Cosmos. Uh, and we take the word cosmos to be very innocuous, which it is not. Uh, we also use yet another word, which is, again, we think it is fairly straightforward to understand and easy to deploy whenever you like, and that is chaos. Okay, so we basically say if you enter some room or something and things are lying all around and all that, uh, then we are saying that it is a chaos. And if it is people misbehaving, uh, we say anarchy. Now, both these meanings of of chaos and anarchy are wrong. Okay, anarchy is not disorderliness. Okay, anarchy is an organized society, and the anarchists like Bakunin, Proudhon, all these people uh, basically believe in the principles of Marxism, but differed on one particular principle. The principle on which they differed was where Marx says after the communist revolution, you should set up a dictatorship of the proletariat. Proletariat is a working class. And the proletariat, this dictatorship of the proletariat, will uh, wipe out classes in society. It will wipe out the difference between uh, those who work and are poor and those who don't work and are rich. Okay, so you'll find this in Marx. So what he said is, if you he was going by the Paris Commune experience, and he says that immediately after the revolution, if you say, okay, there are no more power structures, there are no more power structures in, what should I say, in in society, then we have an anarchy where we have communism, where everyone is free, everyone consumes to the extent that they need. So, from each according to his ability, Marx took it to each according to his need. Okay, now the difference that the anarchists had with Marx was that they were, to a certain extent, with Marx, and that certain extent is the revolution, the communist revolution. But they believed as soon as the revolution was over, there was no need to set up the dictatorship of the proletariat to liquidate class structures. They believed, like Marx, that all history is all human history is the history of class struggle. Okay, they said the class struggle will come to an end with the revolution. So they believe that if the revolution does not wipe out classes and you need to have the dictatorship of the proletariat, then what are you proving? You're proving that there are still classes, and what is preventing the dictatorship of the proletariat from becoming the dictatorship of the capitalists? Okay, why can't you simply have the reversal of roles? So they said you have to get rid of the state, you have to get rid of classes, you have to get rid of all institutions of power uh, immediately after the revolution. In fact, they say the revolution has that kind of a potential to do things. That is anarchy. And monarchy is one, you look at arch, okay? An arch is a symbol of power, okay? You say archy because uh, people were using ancient Greek descriptions. And the Greeks called any power structure an archy. They used ARKY. Okay, so the pronunciation became monarchy, anarchy. Okay, and even if you look at the uh, description of God's angels in Christianity, uh, they are Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel. So, arch it is. But when you describe a bishop, you call him an archbishop, you don't call him an archbishop. Okay, so that's yet another quirk of history. And it is these quirks of history that actually shape a lot of things. And if we miss them out, we miss out on quite a few of the important things that we need to know. But to get back to the point that I was trying to make, so anarchy is not having any arch. Anarchy, no arch, no power relations among human beings. Human beings, it'll be somewhat like the John Lennon song, Imagine. I don't know if you've heard it. If you haven't heard it, you should hear it. It's a great song. So imagine no possessions, things like that he talks about. Uh, so if you are looking at anarchy, then anarchy is a rule characterized by the non-existence of power. It's not disorderliness. Now let's come to chaos. Chaos, is that disorderliness? Not really. Chaos is the opposite of cosmos. So let's first try and understand what is cosmos. Cosmos believes that in the whole universe, again, take note of the term universe, one verse. Okay, so this one verse that is there is basically the verse of all living beings, of all the planets and everything. Okay? So that is the universe. So why should it be called the universe? Because everything that happens in this universe, whether you know of it or not, happens for a purpose. Okay? It's a bit like Newton's theory of physics and time. Okay, Newton says that if you have a tap that is dripping water at a regular interval, okay, whether you're there near the tap, near that room where the tap is, or whether you're 100 miles away, the water will drip, time will pass. Okay, so that is what Newton's summation of time was. And that is a very good explanation of, though Newton has been challenged by Einstein. So Newton is not the last word. Uh, Now, if you take the Newtonian idea, that is what the cosmos is. Whether you know of things or not, there are faraway galaxies. There are faraway galaxies where things are happening, and they are happening for a reason. You might not know something is happening, and you might not know what that reason is. But that does not mean that what is happening is just arbitrary and that it has no reason, no consequences, nothing. It isn't that at all. In fact, those people who decry astrology as alchemy and unscientific, okay, they say astronomy is the science. Astrology is not the science. Now, astronomy is a science, there is no doubt about that, because you're sitting with a telescope, looking at various things, celestial objects, you're trying to understand what their movement means. But the same principles that hold true for astronomy also hold true for astrology. How is a horoscope drawn? Okay, the first thing they ask you is the time of birth. When were you born? At what time were you born? The second thing they ask you is where were you born? Okay, where were you born? And the third thing they ask you is how long did it take you to open your eyes? Okay, now there's a reason why these questions are asked. Because you are being put in the cosmos as a cosmic entity. Okay? After asking all these questions, what do they determine? Lagna, Simha Lagna, lion, the star that will uh, guide your life. These are the things that can be told through astrology. At one time, they were great astrologers. I happened to meet two or three of them when I was very young. Today's astrologers are not astrologers. You go to a bad doctor and uh, the doctor gives you some arbitrary medicine. You're not going to say, hey, this is not on, you know, I'm basically not going to uh, believe in medicine anymore. There's no such thing as medicine. You don't say that, right? You say the doctor is bad. Even in the case of the astrologer is bad, not astrology is bad. Not astrology is incompetent. So these are all series of mathematical calculations. And what bolsters the case for astrology also to be considered a science is the fact that the ancient Indians, without any telescopes, without any kind of instruments, including pen and paper, without that, they were able to write in the sand, make calculations in the sand, and predict solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, the seasons of the year. When will one set in? When will one go? Okay, so much so they also even predicted the return of comets at certain regular intervals. Mind you, they didn't have any kind of what should I say? They didn't have any kind of instruments available. A sheer mathematics writing in the sand, they created all this. Okay, so that strengthened the case that there is astrology is a part of the cosmos, and whether somebody has done a proper horoscope of yours or not, you're a cosmic entity. You're a part of the cosmos. One gentleman one day asked me, I had gone to his house for the first time. I didn't know him at all. I went with uh, a friend of mine, and they were having a chat about this. And I kept my mouth firmly shut. I said, let them talk. Why should I uh, interfere in this? And that man suddenly looked at me and asked me, do you not believe this? Do you think we are speaking bunkum? I said, no, I'm not thinking any such thing. He said, if you're thinking we are speaking bunkum, let me tell you one thing. Who are you? Do you know me? You don't know me. You have come to my house. You've come to my house. You've had a cup of coffee. You're listening to this chat and you'll go. But have you gone into your neighbor's house? I said, no, I've not gone into any of my neighbor's houses. I said, that is cosmology. Okay? That you who have never gone into your neighbor's house, you never stepped into your neighbor's house, have come a certain distance along with this man to come and sit here in my house. So he says, for some reason, our three existences at this point are tied up. We may not know the reason ever, or we may know it later, but this is what it is. This was not new to me. So I said, yes, I fully agree with you. Now that is cosmos. In cosmos, for example, two students of Little Flower Junior College in the past, now one student of that has become a student of St. Francis Degree College, and the other one has become a part of, what should I say, an ulcer. Why are you two attending my classes? Varun? No, Varun knows so many other students. Okay? Varun knows so many other students. Why are they not here? Why are you here? I've been teaching, you look at those 350 plus lectures that I have put on my YouTube channel. You will see most of them are like this. People I have come into contact accidentally, had a chat, and they were impressed enough to say, "Sir, let's have classes. Let's have some discussions uh, on online." I said, "Yeah, okay." So my YouTube channel, which was lying unused for 11 years, suddenly came to life at a particular point. Why? Cosmos will say there is a reason for that. Chaos is the opposite of this. Chaos will basically say that everything that happens has no reason. It has absolutely no reason behind it. Okay? Everything that happens is accident. If I went to that gentleman's house, it was an accident. It was not meant to be. Okay? If you two are attending these discussions with me, then, well, this is yet another accident. Not meant to be. So you see, there are two conceptions of the universe: the cosmic conception or the cosmic theory, or the chaotic conception or the chaotic theory. Okay, that's what these things mean. Now, most people will use the word universe. Little does it occur to them that you can use multiverse. Multiverse meaning many verses. Many verses, each with a purpose of its own or whatever. Why one purpose for the universe? Why one purpose for the universe? I have a whole load of purposes. So when these two conceptions came up against each other, they came into tension. Existentialism is an attempt to resolve this tension one way or the other. Now, if you look at people like Johann Fichte, uh, Arthur Schopenhauer, as I already said, and but more importantly, Immanuel Kant. If you look at this thing, there is strong moral bias. When I was talking to you about ancient Greece, and specifically about Aristotle, I think, and also a bit about Plato, I told you ethics and morals at that time could be used interchangeably. Okay? But in the aftermath of the German Enlightenment, and especially that of Kant, ethics and morality have become two different things. Ethics are derived out of social ethos. Okay, so it's not unethical for the Americans to have one night stands, to go around with people, sleep around with them. But it will become an issue with them if you're married and you're going around and sleeping. If you're not married to anyone, or if you've divorced somebody and are single, at that moment you can go and sleep with anyone. There's nothing wrong. Not so for us, though I think in secret many people do it anyway. Okay? But we would, if we come to know something, we frown upon it. We will castigate the two people as having no character. So we do those things. But when it is morality, to kill is all right, is not accepted by the Americans, is not accepted by anyone anywhere in the world. Killing people, and certainly not in India. But you can kill animals, you can kill chicken, you can kill goats and sheep. That's okay. Okay, so that has slipped into, it should have been in the realm of reality, the morality. If it was in the realm of morality, every life should have the same price. But what we have done is we have let that slip into uh, ethics from the moral realm. At one time, people ate, at the hunter gatherer times, people ate uh, animals because they didn't have hotels and other such places which gave you good, very cooked food. So they did it at that time, right? But Kant will say placing different values on different lives is not tenable. You have a dog, somebody kills a dog, you'll feel terrible. You'll say, oh no. But you'll go kill a goat. You're a human being. You won't let people kill a dog. Amala at one time used to shout and say, no, you can't kill dogs. Okay, now she's become a raw vegan or whatever. So I don't know what they do. I don't care to know what it is. So, anyway, so the question here is what is reason? In the context of this overarching morality, to succumb to that morality or to say, no, I don't agree with this, is the basic question. So if you read Kafka, the main thing that you're facing is this: the various dilemmas that Kafka keeps positing in various books at various points are all trying to test out what can be human morality and what can be morality, not human, and what cannot be. And into that, he introduces the element of power. Not power as we know it, yeah, power as in some people having more power than others. That is one form of existentialism that came in Germany. There is another form of existentialism that came in Germany, which was from phenomenology. Okay, in fact, France's existentialism also had something to do with uh, German existentialism, German phenomenology. Of that, the high priest is Martin Heidegger. But all the things that he drew, all the arguments that he drew, were basically from Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. So there's somebody waiting for me. I didn't want to say no to the class today because one more week will go. So this is your good day. I'm going to let you off sooner than I would otherwise, perhaps. So next time we meet, we'll pick up uh, the other ones. So we'll pick up the existentialism of, phenomenology of Nietzsche and Heidegger, and how that basically shaped existentialism.